Do you know what is the #1 struggle for every person that I ever met, including me? Motivation. Because the motivation never comes and knocks on our door. It's the action that we need to take. And in this workshop, I want to share with you how you can implement easy habits and basically the system that will help you to navigate through the challenging situation and help you achieve everything that you ever wanted. So let's have a look at this topic. Yes, the topic is how to break the bad habits and replace them with sustainable habits that you are going to love and that will make you feel rewarding. So what will you learn? We will look at what are habits and what is the difference between goal setting and system setting, and why goal setting can sometimes be painful once you achieve the goal, the hedonistic adaptation. Then I will teach you the habit stacking technique that I'm using and that might help you to move the needle in the right direction. And in the end, I will share many practical examples. So let's dive in. What are habits? So habits are the small decisions and actions that you take every single day, and you are doing them over and over again until they become automatic and you do them unconsciously. So first you make habits, and then the habits make you. They create the identity, who you actually are. So the way you think, what you focus on, it will show in a way in the nutrition, what you eat, even in the fitness. If you work out 5 times a week, everybody will see it and you will notice the difference as well. It's also about the emotional mindset, how you can navigate through the emotion. And it's not about suppressing them, but observing them and going through them or working with them. And that makes you happy. But what is happiness? Happiness is not what we are looking for in the external environment. It shouldn't be brought by the food, by TV, by your partner, by your friends. No, happiness is coming and is there all day long without needing anybody else. And that's what I call success. For me, for example, success is that I get up in the morning, I have relatively stable energy levels, and I somehow flow through the days with ease. And in the end, I can say that if this was the last day of my life, I enjoyed it and I pretty much did everything that I like to do, including doing this workshop for you. So the typical thing that all of my clients say, and what I very often say is, but I don't have enough time for everything that I would want to do. And Albert Einstein already summarized this and explained to us what the time means in the relativity of time. So he said, put your hand on a stove for a minute and it seems like an hour. Sit with a pretty girl for an hour and it seems like a minute. That's relativity. So when we say that we don't have time or something is taking way too much time, it's relative. So make time for what matters for you. In other words, make it your priority. And if I was to open your agenda and look through every single day, every hour, what you are doing, I would understand what are your values. So for example, if you value significance, if you are climbing a corporate ladder, if you want to be known like a CEO, manager, and God knows what, everything that you do, all the meetings, all the trainings, the networking is showing that significance is the value. If you are a family person, you are looking forward to spend your weekend with the family, doing family actions, you go on family holidays. Chances are that you are driving a family car and you are living in a family house or apartment, because that is the most precious value. The same is, for example, for education. If you value education, you invest hell a lot of money into all the courses and studies, and every weekend you are educating yourself. Your library would show that as well, the personal development or any topic that you love. If you value athletic performance, even though it's raining or it's cold, you will stick to your training plan because you want to do the amount of kilometers that you need to cycle or run, or the amount of push-ups that you need to do every single morning. And if you, for example, value certainty, you would like to stay in your bubble, in your safe circle, and you would have your routine. So doing everything in the order as you do it every single day. And we are not judging what's right or what's wrong, because there is no good or bad. It's whatever you value. The same goes for freedom. If somebody loves freedom and traveling or adrenaline, they will be choosing their holidays or the things in their life based on this. So the most important thing is knowing who you are and what you value. Do you know that? Let's look at a pretty famous psychological phenomenon, and it's called the Valley of Disappointment. So the truth about the progress is that the results do not equal the effort. And maybe that happened to you, that you, for example, wanted to lose weight. So you sacrificed yourself. You didn't eat bread, pasta, you didn't drink wine, beer. You said to your friends that you are not going to go out. You did everything that you were supposed to do. Then you jump on the scale and the number is still the same. So you are going through the valley of disappointment. You start to question whether it's worth it, whether you should continue. And sometimes, because I'm a nutritionist, people ask me, but how long is it going to take me to lose weight? So recall the relativity of time. This is not the right question. The question that you want to ask is, how long does it take to see the change? And the answer for that is, it depends on the number of the repetition. So some studies show that it's 21 days to create a new habit and see the results. Some studies show 24 or 46. I somehow like the number 24. And how can you implement it? So you want to track your habits for 24 days without breaking the chain. So what does it mean? If you, for example, want to stop smoking and you are not smoking for 7 days, but on the day 8, you just go and have a puff, well, you broke the chain and you are starting again from the day number 1. So it must be 24 days doing consecutively what you said that you are going to do. So if you say that you are going to stop drinking coffee, do it for 24 days. And on a day 25, you will actually notice that you don't need coffee, that you broke the habit. So what you write, you invite, you can maybe pause this and think about it. Okay, what is the habit that is not taking me towards my goal? And am I willing to try it for 24 days? So talking about the goals, maybe you have watched some of my videos when I was teaching how to create a vision board and how to do the reverse engineering. If you missed this one, go and watch it. So in short, I will summarize it. Goal setting is great because if you don't know what you want, even the genie in the bottle is absolutely useless. So once you know what you want, and I have my vision board in every single area in a Feng Shui style, then I can reverse engineer what I need to do every single month. But then we also need to implement system setting so that you can track every single week the progress. And this is not about perfection. So even if you say that you will run or train every single day and then it doesn't happen, still don't put yourself down, but praise yourself for what you have already achieved. So you will be able to observe the past and praise yourself every single day. And schedule it in your agenda. So if you, for example, want to eat healthily or lose weight, maybe you want to implement Sunday meal preparation, and you can watch some of the videos that I prepared about that, but all about the small chunks. And here I have this beautiful picture that represents what is goal setting and what is system setting. So let's say that we have a farmer, and his goal is to harvest 20 kilos of carrots, beautiful carrots. But the system that he sets to make a progress is that it's seeding. So he's seeding it, and then he knows, he reverse engineers. So he says, okay, now every single week I need to pull out the bad weeds. Every single evening I need to water the carrots, and so on. But he cannot come to the field and he cannot pull every single week the carrots and see whether they are big. So what is the disadvantage of goal setting, and how do we actually need to balance it? So if you only set the goals, like for example, I want to lose weight, and then you achieve it, it's a momentary change because you sacrificed yourself and you were so obsessed about the goal. But everybody who ever lost weight knows that it is actually not difficult, or not so difficult, to lose weight. What is very difficult is to sustain it for the next 2 years, because we have a set point, and only after 2 years this set point takes it as a new set point. Yeah, the same comes, for example, with the marathon runner. So some people prepare for the marathon and they sacrifice themselves. They every single Sunday go for a long run. Every single day after work, they do some workouts, and they don't enjoy this process. And then the day for the marathon comes. Maybe the day they are not so fit and they kind of lose. They lose in their own way because they don't complete the marathon, or they win because they accomplish it. And what happens after? Whether they lose or win, they say, okay, now it's over. I'm going to check this goal, and that's it. So what would be better is enjoying the journey and not really thinking about the destination. And there needs to be a healthy combination. It's better not only to be doing, but also being that person and enjoying it. So it's great to do the planning, but then also letting go and improvising, just letting the fate or the universe guide you and accepting everything that happens, because it's a learning process. It's never a failure. So you cannot be only focused on the results, but rather seeing it that every challenge moved you towards the destination. But now let's look at the system setting. Why is it also important to have the system setting, and what are the 3 steps? So the step number 1 is the outcome, because everybody wants to know, what's in it from me? What am I going to gain? The second one is the process. So what exactly do I need to do? But I would say that the most important is identity. Who do you want to become? And what do you believe that you can do? So for example, let's say I am not a runner yet, but I want to be a runner. I'm going to do everything that the runners are already doing. So start thinking about it. They buy a really good, high quality running shoes. They have a training agenda. They maybe join a club for the runners. This is a really good idea, because if you are hanging around people who are already runners, the chances are that you implement the same habits by being surrounded by them, and then you can call yourself a runner. Let's say that I am a yogi. And what does that mean for me? It doesn't mean doing yoga on the mat 30 minutes a day. Yogi is a person who is able to live in a present moment. We don't obsess about what is going to be, and we don't have the fear of the future. We neither think about what was in the past, because what was and what is going to be is irrelevant. It's only now, what I'm doing now. So that's the yogi lifestyle. Non-judgment, non-possessiveness, loving everybody and everything that's happening and welcoming it, welcoming every challenge. Or let's say that I am a mom. I want to be a mom. And what is it? It maybe is investing the time into the children and not trying to think like, what am I going to reap out of it? Yeah. So whatever is it for you, what's your identity? Who do you want to be? And how this better version of yourself is behaving? What is that person doing? How is the person looking? So again, write it down. Now let's dive into a little bit of the psychology. So maybe you know about the neurotransmitter dopamine. So dopamine, that's for us humans, special because we can anticipate what is going to happen. And if we had a good, rewarding experience and we loved it, we want more of it. And it's like a chain, yeah? So it's a chain reaction, like a domino effect. And it's going like this: cue, craving, response, and reward. So cue, let's say that my phone is buzzing. Craving, I want to know who is writing to me. Response, I'm going to go and check it. Reward, I get a really nice message that excites me. And I am in the dopamine loop. Because guess what? Next time when the phone is buzzing, I anticipate this message or this person and I will repeat the loop. And I might be totally hooked on that person, that phone, that action. So if I want to break it, how do I break it? Maybe just by switching off the phone and removing it. And then this habit disappears. Maybe you like to watch Netflix. And what do you do when you watch Netflix? Maybe you have a habit of grabbing some beer, wine, crisps, chips, chocolate, you name it, whatever you like. Netflix is on. Craving. I want to have some beer. Response. I'm going to open the fridge and take it. Reward. What a nice Netflix and chill evening. And the same goes with the smell, with the sound. You can get yourself everywhere with the imagination and with the anticipation. So this goes for a good habit and even for the bad habit. Mostly, if you want to break the bad habit, you need to remove the cue or you need to break the chain. So I again invite you to reflect about like what bad habits you have and what you could do about it. And what sometimes happens to all of us is what Carl Jung already told us. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it a fate. So what happens to all of us? That sometimes we have a blind spot, like in the car. You just don't see the mistakes or the obstacles that you are going through. And for this, the awareness, the awakening might happen when you get a coach or nutritionist or somebody who reviews what you are doing and they bring it up to the light. Then comes the second step, acceptance, because sometimes we are resistant. Sometimes we don't want to hear that we are going in a wrong direction. But once you accept it, you have a chance to change it by taking action. So how can you take the action? Let's do a little audit of your daily routine together. So here I give you an example and I invite you to do the same. Just without judgment or observation, just write down everything that you do in one day. I wake up and then I check my phone. I'm going to make a cup of coffee. Then I maybe go to the bathroom. I check my weight and then I just don't want to work. So I'm scrolling on a social media. checking the messages, who is writing to me, and then maybe I read the book. So once you write down what you do every single day, repetitive action, then let's value it. So let's say wake up. For me, it's neutral. It's or it might be a good thing. So you can put there even a plus. Check my phone. I value this as negative habit because there I might be reading email and then immediately get into how I'm going to reply, or I don't reply immediately. Just no. Let's have some other morning routine. Yeah, I would say to myself, going to the bathroom. I mean, it's neutral. We all have to do that. Checking my weight. Might be positive or might be negative, depending, because if you see a higher number on the scale, which actually does not represent the weight, but it might be the exercise and the water retention or the menstrual cycle, changing the balance in your body. So it might put you off, or it might turn you on and you are like, okay, I'm really happy. So you value it in your own way. Making a coffee, for me, it's neutral. And so on, you can go with everything that you are doing. And once you finish this audit, write down the negative behavior and the bad habits that you would want to focus on. I recommend not to do 4, 5, 6, but maybe if you are a busy person, start with 1 or 2. So let's say that in my case, it will be like overeating at breakfast, checking on the phone in the morning, scrolling mindlessly through the social media, or procrastinating at work. So what can I do about it? First thing is not to scare my mind. So every time when you are making a change, you want to make only a small change that your brain nearly does not detect. So I would apply a 2-minute habit because I want to anchor it. Okay? So this comes from the neuro-linguistic programming, anchoring some habit. And you are repeating this tiny habit for 24 days. And again, here we have the genie, and genie wants to know exactly what you want to change. So I say, I will switch off my phone at 9 o'clock in the evening. So exactly what I do. And I will leave it in the kitchen until 8 o'clock in the evening. So I even specify the place where I leave the mobile phone. And this is stopping me to scroll on a social media or checking the phone in the morning. What I can also do is that I install an app that is going to block it. And I don't have the chance to read it because the system is blocked. The other thing, so let's say that I procrastinate at work and I don't do everything that I should do. Because to be honest, I hate accounting, invoicing, and any other administrative jobs. So I say, I will issue an invoice immediately after the session with a client, and I stick to it for 24 days, and then hopefully it becomes a habit. So what is it for you, and how can you specify it? Time-wise, some limit, and the place. Now let's look at the motivation. This is the buzzword that everybody says, but I am not motivated. How can I get motivated? So first, let's look at it. It's a term that comes from Latin, motivus, a moving cause, reason. You need to have a reason. The reason needs to be strong enough to move you towards your goal. So when you actually reach this threshold, it's usually either the pain or the pleasure. So let's start with the pleasure because that one is easy. If you want to get towards the pleasure, we do everything. Imagine when you recall when you, for example, fell in love and you had amazing romantic relationship and the person wanted to meet you. And it was raining, it was cold, you had to go by bike, you were tired after the work, but suddenly you found the energy. And even though you were not eating, you were just so motivated. And why? because the dopamine was triggered. You were anticipating what it's going to be like to be with this person, and you would do no matter what to get there because you were motivated to get towards the pleasure. Now we look at the other one, and it's moving away from the pain. And what can be the pain? So as a nutritional therapist, I can tell you that the pain for many of my clients is when I interpret the blood test results for them and they actually see that, for example, they are pre-diabetic. And there is only one mark to get them to the diabetes when they would have to either take the metformin or they would have to inject the insulin forever because their pancreas is depleted. When they receive such a notice from me, it causes the pain and it reaches the threshold. They say, okay, enough is enough. I really need to start eating healthily. I have to quit the sugar. This can be even with the relationship. If somebody tells you, look, I am really not happy in this relationship and I'm thinking about divorce or breaking up, that causes you pain. Because you invested the time, years, energy into this person, you actually feel they're in your comfort zone and you don't want it to end. So suddenly you are motivated to get yourself out of this pain and make a change. So that is the motivation. And in whatever you want to change, like break the habit, stop smoking, lose the weight, you must write down where are you going to find yourself in 6 months time, in 1 year, if you keep doing what you are doing now. And you have to feel the pain, the consequence of those actions that you are taking now. So again, write it down and think about it. Imagine it in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. And if you now imagine it and you are like, okay, enough is enough. I know what I want to do, but how can I prepare for that? So let's brainstorm some of the main issues that usually my clients have. We need to prepare the environment. So let's say that you feel pretty unfit now and you don't want to spend money going to the gym. You know that running or jogging or going for a walk is the easiest and fastest way to get fit for the cardio, being in the nature and stuff like that. But you are not in the habit. How can you do it? So for example, you can prepare the shoes, running shoes, in some visible place. And remember, you start with a very tiny steps, 2 minutes. So the drill can be that you just put the tennis shoes on and you go for a walk around the block for 2 minutes. Yeah. And you do this for 24 days. And you will notice that maybe after 7 days of doing this, you will say, okay, I have already put the shoes on. So maybe I can extend to 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or I will go here and there. And maybe in 2 or 3 months' time, you start doing jogging, yeah, this Indian run, walking, running, walking, running, until you get it into a proper running. And then you will be calling yourself a runner. And because you will be having all these endorphins, you will feel immediately amazing after that. And you can reward yourself with a nice warm shower and getting dressed and just feeling amazing, maybe enjoying a rich breakfast. After all, it's just for you to get moving. Second thing, when you, for example, want to lose weight or stop eating chocolate, obviously you have to clear the cupboards because we are all only humans. If the chocolate is there and it's staring at you, chances are you are going to eat it. So clean the cupboards. Another thing, for example, for my clients that is quite difficult is to stick to drinking routine. So remember, you should drink 40 milliliters of water for every single kilo of your body weight. So if you have 60 kilos, it's 2.4 liters of water. And it is not easy to stick to it. So how can you do it? You put bottles everywhere around you, this amazing healthy Boosts company, you can check it out. And you can set up a reminder on your mobile phone that says, have a sip, right? And if this tells you like every 30 minutes or every hour to have a sip, you get into the habit. The same comes with the supplements. So many of my clients, they understand they have a nutritional deficiency. We order all these amazing supplements for a great price. Suddenly they have it all at home. And then we have another meeting in 2 weeks' time. And I ask them, so how is it going with supplements? Oh my goodness, I've been busy at work and then we were traveling and I just didn't really stick to the routine. Obviously, because if it's something new, it takes time. How long? 21, 24, 48 days to build it into a habit. So even though you know it's good for you, you need to make it automatic. How can you make it automatic? So I, for example, used to have this small box where I had all my supplements. But then I upgraded because I bought even more supplements and I bought this pill box. Yeah. And what I like on this pill box that it says lundi, mardi, jeudi, vendredi. We are practicing French. And I can put there all my supplements morning, midi, soir, and nuit. And it's very easy to have it in the handbag when I'm traveling and also seeing whether I have taken it or not. Of course, to remember that it is somewhere. So if I'm at home, I can have it next to my bottle. But if I'm traveling, again, I will set up the alarm that is going to tell me after lunch, don't forget to take the curcumin, or don't forget to take the digestive enzymes or whatever supplements I'm going to take. So reminders. And the last thing is accountability partner or a group influence. So you can join some of my group courses, Eat Clean, Get Lean, or Unlock the Secrets of Anti-Aging, and I'll be happy to keep you accountable. But if you don't want to do that, you can just get into any group. So for example, if your goal is to read more, join a book club. If your goal is to get really good at yoga, join the yoga teacher training, yeah, and it will prepare you for that. And here, remember on the picture, this is very important. If you say, I can't do it, you are absolutely right. And if you say, I can do it, you are also right. Because whatever you believe in your mind is going to happen. I want to introduce you now to habit stacking and temptation bundling strategies that I use. So let me give you an example. My habit, and it's very difficult to break it, is overeating at the first meal. So I do the intermittent fasting 16, 18, 20 hours. So obviously, at the time when it's like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, I get hungry, or not even hungry, but I just want to enjoy the food because I love to eat. But as I'm eating, my brain is not getting the signal yet because the stretch receptors did not send the signal, and the hormone, the satiety hormone leptin, has not been yet released into the bloodstream. It takes 20 to 40 minutes. I can tell you that in my case, it's 40 minutes. So what can I do about it? So sometimes when I'm preparing a large breakfast or brunch or whatever it is, I think that I will do it like 2 portions, but no, it doesn't work because then I eat the 2 portions. So strategy number 1 is preparing only the amount that corresponds to the 1 portion. So it's a control portion of the meal, and then there is nothing else. The second strategy that I implemented is that I go immediately brush my teeth, and then immediately I put the tennis shoes on and I go for a walk with my dogs. And every time when you change the habit, there must be some reward. So for me, the reward is listening to the WhatsApp messages, the voice messages that all my friends and clients and men send me. Yeah. So I said to myself that I will listen to the WhatsApp messages only when I'm outside, never ever at home. So that's my motivation to go outside, and it's my reward to listen to it and then make the message back to them. And when I come back from the walk, usually I already feel full. and then I start, for example, working. So that's one example of how I do the habit stacking into something that I have been doing already before, which is walking the dogs. I have to do it every day, or brushing the teeth, which I do many, many times a day, like 6 times a day. And listening to the WhatsApp messages, for example, right? So it's in there. The second one, maybe you have seen when I was doing the video about the roller and about this precious guasha stone, how you can nicely do the massages. And I was saying in the video that it's brilliant for the lymphatic system and that I'm doing it well. For how long do you think after Christmas it lasted? Not very long, because I did not build it into the habit. And the problem was that these devices, these like objects, were hidden in the kitchen, in the drawer, in the bathroom, in the drawer. So I did not see it, and I did not have a chance to create a habit. So what I did is to make it into my evening routine. So in the evening, when I'm brushing my teeth, I put the roller next to the toothbrush. So my evening routine is like very simple. So I just wash my face, I brush my teeth. So to this, I implemented now that I'm massaging my face with a beautiful oil. I actually bought it from an amazing company in the Czech Republic. It's called Pravaya. And they have a really beautifully rosa, neroli oils and many other like hyacinth. And the smell is now connected with the relaxation. So when I put the oil on my face, it's easy to implement a 2-minute rule. So 2-minute routine, not to make it any longer, because I can always find 2 minutes for my time. And then I'm massaging my liver, and all the muscles, and I feel great. But it must be in the visible place. So now think about your habit stacking. What are you already doing, right? Like, for example, drinking the water, and how can you attach to your habit already something that you want to change? Here is a summary. To implement a new habit, rule number 1, make it easy. Maximum 2-minute rule, or do maximum one thing for the 24 days, right? Don't overdo it. Second, make it obvious. Put it together with another object. Put the shoes into the room. Have the supplements visible. Just make it obvious. And the third rule is make it rewarding. Because remember this dopamine. If it feels good and if it is rewarded, you are going to repeat it all over again. Because dopamine is so powerful. It is this visualization. And if you tell me, I'm not really good at visualization, I'm sure you can. Because if you are planning to go on holidays, you can see yourself on the beach. You know what you are going to do there in a 5-star hotel, what food you will enjoy and how you will relax, what book you will read, how you will feel. And sometimes in our imagination, when you visualize it, it's actually idyllic. And then the actual holiday is not so. And the same can go for the dating. You just imagine how amazing it's going to be. And the result might be actually slightly disappointing. How can you eliminate the bad habits? It is so challenging to break them. So the fundamental rule of behavior change is what is immediately rewarded is repeated, and what is immediately punished is avoided. So think about it. If, for example, your colleague tells you, well, thank you, you have done this amazingly, chances are you are going to repeat it again because they praised you and you loved it, you were rewarded. Or the same is if your family or friends say, oh my goodness, the food that you have prepared is so delicious. I have never eaten anything better. Chances are you are going to prepare the food for them again because you were rewarded. Now let's look at the opposite. So what is immediately punished is avoided. So obviously, if, for example, your children or your friends or somebody is doing something that is not right, you tell them off, and they don't feel well about it, and they are not going to do it again. So even recall when it happened to you that somebody said, look, this wasn't really right, yeah, and you felt ashamed, and you promised to yourself that you are never ever going to do it again. So what is immediately rewarded is what we want, because we don't really want the long-term one. So we have the goal, even on the vision board, but then the chocolate is so tempting and I just want to go to get it, and it just gives me immediate reward. So we always want the immediate reward, not the long-term one. So even though we want to lose the weight, then somehow the chocolate or something tempting is in there. So you have to delay the gratification. And as I said before, you want to remove it from your house. So what can help you, what can actually motivate you? And very often it is for us that if we have to pay a lot of money for something, we make sure that we stick to good habits. So if you get your accountability partner and you say, okay, every time when I smoke a cigarette, even though I said I want to stop smoking, I'm going to give you €100, $100 or whatever currency you want. Or if you don't have accountability partner, you can set up a direct transfer to a political party or to association that you actually don't like because you don't have the same values. How painful it is to give money to somebody who you don't want to support. Yeah? So the chances are that you will stick to what you said that you are going to do. So you will not miss the workout, you are not going to binge eat, and you will not miss the deadline for 24 days. So don't break the chain for the 24 days. So I hope that you enjoyed this workshop, and I want you to implement something. So what is it that you are going to implement today? So now you know what are your goals, but also that you need to focus on the system. So what is your system? How can you create these small, easy, enjoyable habits? And you can maybe print out, I have it on a website, the reward scorecard. So you put there maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 habits that you will do for 24 days. Maybe you want to really change something major in your life. Maybe you want to get your nutrition under control. Maybe you want to become a yoga teacher. So find your coach in the area that you want to change, and preferably somebody who has been where you are finding yourself now, the person that walked the path, that made all the mistakes and knows how to get in the shortest possible way from A to B. So who will help you to fill this gap? Or join a motivational social group, or join any of my courses. And don't forget to prepare the environment for success. Praise yourself daily, because remember, not every single day we do everything that we said 100% that we will do. So maybe you don't stick to the routine for 2 minutes, but even 1 minute is great. Just don't break the chain. Remember the number 24. And what also helps, and I mentioned, is the identity shift. So who is the best version of yourself? Who do you want to become? And just visualize it, draw it, put it onto your vision board. And most of all, be patient, because we will all go through the valley of the disappointment, and you are seeding and you are going to reap the results, but nobody is going to tell you how long it will take. Time and relativity. And I just wish you that you get there. And the last quote that I absolutely love is, don't wish, it was easier. Wish that you were better. Thank you and best of luck.